right now, hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome to Love and Hip Hop Miami Season 7, Episode 1. All right, y'all, we start this season off with, doing flashback of Trick Daddy's back in the day house on MTV Cribs. And now we get to see some of the upgrades that Trick Daddy has put in his home, making it look just a little bit new. Trick is also having a cookout in the back. Of course, nobody's allowed in the house, and that probably would be the same thing I would have did. Everybody outside. And as we get the outcast of everybody outside having a good time, we see the twins, the rap twins, the Bobby twins, whatever they want to be. And we also see Hot Topic. And then we get to see Trina and her husband show up. Now, as they start to discuss the new renovations on the home, of course, Joy comes up. And of course, Trina and Trick gotta argue with each other. But nonetheless, that's Trick Daddy's pad. And, he's sticking to it. That's the jump off pad. I'm not sure why it's the jump off pad. And I'm definitely not sure why women just want to jump on him. Every time I see Trick, and I don't mean no harm, but every time I see Trick, he look bloated. He look like he's getting worse. I don't think he's actually fully taking care of himself. It's so weird to see this 70-year-old man talking about walking around, seeing a bunch of booties and tits and ass and everywhere. He need to sit down somewhere. But okay, we get back outside with the party at Trick's house, and we see Hot Topic just sitting there. And of course, she get ready to throw out some meth, asking where Trick Daddy phone is at because some old person, has been trying to get in contact with him. And apparently, the old friend, the old hookup was Samantha, and we'll get into that later of who she actually is. But she has been trying to reach out to him through Hot Topic of all people to give him a spiritual reading. Now, in this next scene, we see Amara La Negra, and she is having a photo shoot with my favorite color, pink, with her new perfume. And after speaking about what happened with Ray J last season, we also start to see Eliza walk up. Now, from the looks of it, Eliza's not pregnant no more, and I just want her hip to thigh ratio to match. So Amara invited Eliza to talk about last season and what went wrong. So as they discussed what went wrong last season, which to me was just, high school stuff, Eliza does apologize, I guess, to squash the beef, and talked about how she lost her pregnancy. Now, I think Amara is still on some BS. I think Amara's about to get back up here and play right back in our faces. But, we'll see as this episode keeps going on. But Eliza does explain how she lost her baby, and this becomes a very vulnerable moment. And Amara comforted her and connected with her on how she lost one of her babies as well. But I agree with Amara in this moment. You could just be the best grandma you can possibly be, or grandma, whatever you want to call it. Just be a grandma and connect back with your daughter. Now, as the conversation keeps going on, Amara also wants Eliza to talk to Shay and kind of, I guess, rekindle their friendship, or at least keep the peace between themselves. The conversation then steers towards talking about Tip, and I think Tip at this point, she does need to mind her business. If that's what Amada wants, then let Amada have it. We all know how Amada operates, especially when it comes to her man. Let her have him. If Amada wants to play mistress to Alan's wife, let her do it. Because one thing about Tip, she will always be in somebody's business in the mess. But Amara, I do find it funny that it's on site with Tip, but you could keep that same energy with Princess. But okay. Now, in this next scene, we see Michael Blackston in Detroit doing one of his shows. Now, why he's on Love and Hip Hop, I don't know. I guess he has a few artists under his belt that's in the industry, but let's see what this man brings. Now, we also learned from Michael Blackston while he's doing this show that he is finally engaged to Rada. Rada finally got what she wanted. Not all the way, though. Now, I forgot what show it was, but it was with all them famous couples, and they were all, I guess, going through therapy together. However, Rada still allows him to have his side chicks because she's okay with that. As long as she got the piece of her man, she's fine. So after his comedy show in Detroit, Michael Blackston flies back to LA, and we all see a very pregnant Rada. And we also learned that both Rada and Michael Blackston has children before each other, or the relationship, and they have both worked very hard in trying to have this current baby now. And Rada is going to have her baby in Arizona to be surrounded by her family before she does the move with Michael to Miami. And while both of them are having a conversation, Rada does express her feelings that, with him having girls around that she allows, that she is scared that, one of the girls is going to scoop him up. Rada, I don't know why you made that agreement with him if you wanted him to turn around and then change all of a sudden. Because now you're having a baby and you think he's supposed to just up and stop. When no, that's what you've let happen for years. So now with you wanting him to change, it's only going to cause him to be a bit more secretive and discreet with everything that he does. He's going to start lying even more. And if you wanted the child, if you wanted to think about your children together and them seeing them as a positive role model, then that's something you should have nipped in the bud way before y'all decided to have children. Not let him keep doing it up until now. I'm about to have this baby, and yeah, now you need to change. You allowed that recipe to happen, and now he's not going to change. Now, in this next scene, we arrive to Miami Tip premiere of her short scene. Now, the party looks lit. It does look like it's popping. It's a little fun, and now we get to see Joy walk up, and right behind her is Bobby. Now, I am glad to see Bobby. He looks a little bit healthy, a little bit fuller in the face. I'm glad he has been taking care of his health. And we see a new cast member, Sonia. And as we see some scenes of her in her music, because she is a music writer, the blue looks good on her. So as the cast members are introduced to Sonia, we start to see Miami Tip and her premiere. Now, after the premiere, we see everybody gather around and Miami Tip sits down. Then Joy pops up some news, her place fell through and technically she is homeless. Now, of course, when she said that, I also said, no, you're not, because I'm with Bobby. You're not homeless. That man don't want to divorce you, so that's your home technically, and your name is still on it. You're not homeless. Go on back to your old home. Now, Joy, I get why you don't want to live with Trick. I 110% get that, but honey, we not about to be homeless. So go on ahead, tell him scoot on over, let your stuff up in there, and yeah, you back home for a while. And just like I said, in this next scene, we see Joy in her truck, her little cute little black kitty cat, and that moving truck. That's right, Joy, go back to that home with your name on it. You'll just be uncomfortable for a little bit until you get something new. Now, of course, Trick and I with it. The twins looking like, what in the world is going on? But at the same time, I understand, Trick. Why didn't you call me and tell me? But then again, my name is on his house. So once again, scoot on over. I'm moving in and I'll be here for a little bit. All right, so we at the next scene where we see Rada show up to a restaurant with her girlfriends to meet up before she moves back to Arizona to have her baby. And one of her friends just so happened to be Claudia Jordan. So the ladies catch up. They get Rada's, induction dates, and Rada starts to talk about what's been going on between her and Michael. Claudia then asks a good question. Can you trust Michael in Miami? But here's my thing. If she allows him to have, the side chicks, I mean, what's the difference? Rada was right. What is the difference between LA and Miami? I'm pretty sure they got the same amount of holes on each state. They also talk about marriage with Michael, and, Rada says that he has a lot of things to work on. Sis, that's supposed to come before the kid too, not just marriage. Marriage is not important to everyone, but a kid definitely should. So if you wanted this man to be upstanding and honest and, an all-around good guy to be seen in front of your kid, that's something you should have thought about before having him as well. And now in this moment, Rada does get emotional because she is loyal to a fault. But however, I do think it's hard to be friends with her because, honey, I can't keep watching my friend put herself through the BS because she wants that man so bad. At what point in time are you going to think about yourself? Because he's definitely thinking about himself. So when are you going to think about you too? And Claudia's right. Rada does deserve better, but Rada also has to want better. In this next scene, we see Trick pull up, and he's pulling up to meet Samantha. And lo and behold, we find out that Samantha is Joy's sister. Now, wait a minute, Joy. You was tricking off on your sister's man and then turned around and married him? Now, I want to know how Joy expected him to be faithful to her when he wasn't even faithful to her sister. Now, as these two sit down, they start to discuss the past. And we also found out that Samantha is a ordained minister and Christian life coach. Now, apparently, she also has premonitions, and that's the reason why she wanted to reach out to Trick. Samantha also tells him that the last woman that he was with, I can't remember her name to save my life, y'all, but the last woman that he was with, that she was not for him and that he needed to go on to someone else. And we all know Joy took her from him, to which they both start to discuss Joy and how Joy has moved back into the house. So after talking about Joy, Samantha also lets him know that he's going to get into a new relationship and that he should be ready because this might just be the one. Now, I don't know what Samantha is seeing because Trick ain't ready for nothing. Trick don't want to do nothing. Trick just wants to be old, living his best life, and being around a bunch of young women, even though he almost 70. Now, the two begin discussing each other and their past and how Trick used to say that he was going to marry Samantha. Samantha, I don't know what made you believe that. I guess it was because you was young. However, I don't know what y'all see from my perspective. I don't know what y'all see in Trick. Trick basically looking for somebody to take care of him as he get older. Now, they both discuss the faults they both had in the relationship and how Trick, gave the excuse, well, I didn't know who your sister was. I mean, you shouldn't have been out there cheating in the first daggone place. But if you didn't know who your sister was and she sat there and she told you, then yeah, she's right. You should have just cut it off right after that. But you ended up marrying her sister. And I don't know about that much kind of forgiveness. I'm kind of with her on that side. You telling me in one ear not to trust this man, but on the other flip side, you're sleeping with the same man you're telling me not to trust. So there is no forgiveness. I would not be talking to my sister still. That conversation was crazy. So in this next scene, we get to Bobby's party and we get to see Sonia get ready for her debut. Now we get to see Shay walk up and join the party. And I'm glad to hear that she's finally done with Fabo, her live-in boyfriend, I guess. I mean, I don't know why it took rocket science for her to see who he really was, but okay, I'm just glad she done with him. So as Shay enters, we see her link up with Amada. And of course, after a while, Bobby then comes over. They all start to talk, and then Bobby lets them know that Miami Tip is may just come to the party. We know Miami Tip and Amara are not getting along, especially because Miami Tip was online on Instagram going up for, Amara's baby daddy's wife, basically Alan's wife. Miami Tip was going up for her in the comment section. So her and Amara are just not seeing eye to eye. And after that conversation, Amara then brings up Eliza and how they squashed their beef. And Amara also wants Eliza and Shay to kind of squash their beef and keep the peace. Now we all know Shay not about to do that. Shay don't see nothing wrong with what she does until it's in her face and she has no other choice but to accept what she did. And then we start to see Eliza show up to the club as well. But Eliza is there so they could talk things out. However, the ladies sit down and begin to talk about what went left and the reason as to why they're having these disagreements. Eliza was talking trash first, and then we all know Shay gonna get petty, and then she pulled out the turkey baster, y'all. So as the conversation wraps up and Eliza apologizes, but Eliza does mention that Shay did talk about her child, and we all know when adults are arguing, children are kept out of it. Now Shay, that was wrong calling that baby that little MF. Now you should not have said that. I don't care how mad you get. That's not something you do. You can talk about the mother all day. But Shay does not apologize for that because her excuse is, well, you can't tell me what to say when I'm upset. And the conversation actually doesn't truly get resolved because Shay is standing 10 toes on what she said. So after that conversation, we then see Amada walk off, and then we also see Amada start to approach Miami Tip, who's at the bar. And as Amada sees Miami Tip, we do see Sonia get up on stage to perform her music. Now, I got a little far ahead into the scenes, but we do see Miami Tip eventually walk up to the bar where Amada was at. My bad, y'all. Now, like I said earlier, I do think Miami Tip needs to mind her business. If Amada wants to deal with Alan, let her do it. Let her go through the woes. Let her have that man. If she wants that man that bad, let her have it. It's kind of hard being a friend to a woman who wants destructive things in their life or wants constant toxicity in their lives. So Miami Tip just needs to step back and let Amara go through it. But the two begin to argue about Alan, which is Miami, let it go. Let her have him, honey. And I guess the argument is so loud that it's causing a scene, and even Sonia had even stopped performing. Now, once again, Amada is, she on 10. I mean, as she should. Don't nobody call me a weak bee and don't talk about my daughters in any conversation. However, honey, you did not keep that same energy with Princess. You was mighty scared. But as we also see, Tip ain't even budge either. And I am on Sonia's side because I wouldn't take Love and Hip Hop serious either. Why are y'all interrupting my performance? Then Amada gets her attention-seeking self up on stage, and then you took the mic from Sonia. Girl, go sit down. I'm performing. Make an announcement from the back or something. Don't be coming up on stage during my time. So after that whole fiasco at the club, we now get to the scene where we see Michael Blackson pull up to a house. Now we see one of Michael Blackson's side chicks, Nadia, who is also pregnant. And this is exactly what Rada was talking about. You have now been so connected to this woman that she is now having your baby. And you know good and well that was not a part of the agreement. You can have a side chick, but they cannot be that close to you. And yes, he lied about using condoms. This is why Rada does not fully trust him, but at the same time, this is their agreement. And what is up with all these women that just want to get pregnant just with these broken homes with these famous men? Like, what are y'all truly getting out of it? But the scene ends and then the episode ends. So y'all tell me what y'all think. Like, comment, and subscribe, and share. Bye.